Hello folks, this is Sula speaking, and welcome to a commentary video on League of Legends, this one featuring Janna. I'm playing in a pre-made team here, along with Mookie, with Cole, with Donsky, and with Mostly Harmless, and you can see each of our champs listed at the top of the screen. This is a full pre-made team, and we don't have anyone random, so we are all going to be in communication with one another, and in communication over voice chat. The team that we're faced up against, you can see down at the bottom. This is a team that's pretty heavy on physical damage between Twitch and between Tristana. Of course, they also have Sona for support and Akali for a bit of magic damage, and then Malphite for tanking damage on their team. We're going to have Mookie playing a Mumu, and Mookie has the Pharaoh Mumu skin there, which is kind of a neat one. As you can see by the fact that Mookie has taken Smite as his summoner skill. So we'll have a jungle Mumu, then we'll have Annie, and let's see, I think we're going to have Cole take a solo lane with Annie. Not 100% sure, either Cole or Mostly Harmless will take the other solo lane. And then I will also end up taking a solo lane, which is one of the reasons why I've taken teleport for this game. Anyway, there we go, we're finally off the loading screen. It was taking a little while because one of their players, I think, dropped on the loading screen. And then, but fortunately now we're back, and misclicking a little bit here on the setup screen, but I'm going to purchase a pretty typical starting setup for me, which is purchasing a Doran's Ring for a casting character, and then the standard one red potion to go along with it. Alright, let's see. Mookie had requested that I take Janna's shield, her E skill, which is Eye of the Storm, as the first one right at the start of the game, so that I could shield him when he tries to get the Golem buff right at the start of the game, which was perfectly alright because I'll level up very quickly if I'm taking the soul lane. And it looks like Mostly Harmless is going to take the middle lane, at least as far as how we're set up here. Now, why are we standing up here by the river? The idea being that we are trying to make sure that no one on the other team is going to run in here and try to attack Mookie when he gets ready to go after that Golem. So this is pretty standard if you have a jungler. Oftentimes you have even more spotters than this. You might have you might have your entire team actually if you really are expecting the other team to try to grab the person and kill the person who's jungling. You might actually have the full team serving on spotting duty, but we're just going to have the two of us here because we're not expecting any sort of high-level harassment from the other team. Anyway, the idea here is that once the minions will spawn right now at the 1:30 mark on the clock, and then the Golem will spawn at 1:55. That's when the red and the blue buffs will both spawn. So right at the start, and here I am, I'm zooming in, you can see the little character sprites a little better. At 1:55, the Golem will spawn, and I'll place my shield on Mookie, and then get in an extra hit or two just to help him out a little bit, and that'll allow him to kill the Golem without too much trouble. Just make it a little bit easier for him. I actually miss on my first little toss there. So I'll put my shield on him, and that will protect Mookie a little bit from damage. And then, let's see, he'll use his Smite ability, and that does most of the damage, and that allows him to get that kill on the Golem. Okay, so now the game more proper can start out here. I'm going to be in this solo lane up here at the top, and you can see I'm going to be up against Malphite. And let's see, who else on the other team? I'm expecting someone else to appear. Haven't seen them yet, but they're probably around here somewhere. And oh, look, it's Sona. Okay, so Malphite and Sona up here are going to be the two that will be matched up against me. In the middle lane, Mostly Harmless, playing Tristana, is going to be matched up against the other team's Twitch, which is kind of an interesting matchup there, Twitch being a stealth champion. Then in the bottom lane, we have, let's see, we have Cole playing Annie, and we have Donsky playing Kale, and they are matched up against the other team's Tristana. So yes, there's two Tristanas in this game. And their last player, who is, I can't see over there at the moment, but up against their last player as well. Now, because I put my initial point in Eye of the Storm, that means that I have to get to level 2 before I can put a point in Janna's Tornado. Which name escapes me at the moment because I'm not looking at it. But when you're by yourself in a solo lane, you level up very, very quickly. And so I've already been able to get a point in that now. Actually, you can see I've already reached level 3. My goal will be to hold this lane up here for a long time. As long as I can hold this lane 2 versus 1, then our team should be in good shape elsewhere. Oh, the other team's final player is Akali, I guess. Just saw it over there. Anyway, but as long as I can hold this lane by myself, that's a good situation for us. For one thing, I'll level very quickly because I'll be in a solo lane, which means I'll be getting the full experience off of every minion that dies. It also means that we should be able to have the advantage in other lanes as long as I can hold 1 versus 2 here. That means we have an extra person free to either cause some mayhem in other lanes as Mookie goes around between jungling, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's the upside. The downside is that because this is a 2 versus 1 lane, I'm not going to be able to push this lane forward. So obviously I'm not going to be getting in any shots on that top tower. I'm not going to be making progress in terms of this lane. And while I should be able to farm pretty well, it also means that I'm not going to be able to stop the other team from farming on their end. So as far as Sona and Malphite go, it's going to be rather difficult for me to stop them from farming up minions. So that's the trade-off we have here. The other trade-off would be if in fact I were to get killed. That would be very bad because we'll probably lose this tower here in the top lane if I would ever get killed. So that's sort of priority number 1. I have to make sure I don't get killed. But fortunately, Janna's one of the characters who is very good at avoiding getting killed. Janna can handle a 2 versus 1 lane without too much trouble. In fact, I already have another video where I did something similar to that. And that was when I had just played Janna for maybe like the first or second time. So now that I have a little bit more experience with her under my belt, this shouldn't be too difficult to pull off. But we'll see how everything goes. One of the things you might notice is that I'm shielding myself pretty frequently with Janna. Her Eye of the Storm let's see, it protects you from damage when you have it on. So it means that I won't take damage as long as I have that shield on. It has to be broken for me to take damage. It also increases my own melee damage. So when I am trying to get minion kills, it's useful to have that shield on me. And here you can see because I've pushed the lane back for this latest wave of minions, I'm going to take advantage of that to use my teleport skill to recall to base, mostly just so I can refill my mana. But as you see, I don't have too much money. I'm just going to buy the basic level boots of speed, and then I'm going to teleport back, and you can see I make it back right in time for the next minion wave to arrive. So I haven't really lost any experience. I'm not going to lose hardly any gold, and I managed to get a complete refill on my mana. And that's something that teleport allows you to do. Now I could of course take something like Clarity as another summoner skill, which would allow me to refill my mana without going back to base. But teleport has a lot more versatility than that. Now, granted, teleport's also on a longer summoner cooldown. You can Clarity comes back off of cooldown more frequently than teleport does, but the versatility of teleport still causes me to think that it's a superior skill in most situations. So for most champions, I would prefer taking teleport. Very useful in a 2 versus 1 lane or in a soul lane. Because it allows you to get back so quickly. And then, of course, in the late game, when people are trying to, if someone tries to backdoor your base, or if you find that your team has screwed up and left the tower unprotected when you really shouldn't, you can go and defend it. So just a very versatile skill, has a lot of uses. Can be used in pushing as well too. For example, if let's say everyone else on your team survived a team fight and is now pushing the enemy base, but you got killed, as soon as you come back up from death, you could then teleport right into the rest of your team and then join right back up with them. So you can also teleport to wards, and I did that and showed that in another video. You can someone on your team can throw down a ward in the bushes, and then you can teleport to it and sometimes get an easy kill that way. So anyway, just a lot of different stuff here. As far as the actual game itself, apologies if this is sort of the slow portion of the game here. We're just sort of laning back and forth. You can see how I'm using Janna, and I'm very well protected. I mean, they're not really doing much of anything to me, and I'm still managing to get a lot of minion kills. I'm still managing to hold this lane. And if you look in terms of the minion kill score there, I have 24 kills. I believe that Sona had a little bit over 30. So Sona and me are relatively even. The good news is that the other team's Malphite player is not doing a very good job at all in terms of getting minion kills. I think that he had like 6, so he's just sort of been auto-attacking and really not achieving very much. You can see now when their lane gets pushed forward like this, they might have the opportunity to slip in and get in a hit or two on the tower. Sona more so than Malphite, because Sona has a ranged auto attack, whereas Malphite's has a physical one. You'd think that they could maybe slip in and get in a hit or two on the tower, but they haven't been doing that, so my tower really hasn't been taking any damage, like at all. And now there's these minions, with just a little bit of health left, and I'm going to pick them all off using Janna with her shield. So I'm doing a pretty good job of getting the minion kills here. And again, one of the advantages of having a jungler is you can see I'm level 8, whereas their character's only like level 5, I think. So Mookie's going to come up here, and we're going to try to get a kill. This was actually a little bit of miscommunication. Mookie comes in, and he uses his bandage toss, and he uses his ultimate. And although we're able to do a lot of damage to Malphite and to Sona, we're ultimately not able to get a kill. And Mookie took enough damage in the process that he probably is going to have to back off here, head back to base. That was a little bit of miscommunication. I actually thought that Mookie was going to wait for the for them to kill the minions and then for them to advance forward up by our tower before he was going to bandage toss in there. But he saw an opening and went for it, and I was a little bit behind him there. So our coordination was a little bit off. We sort of had slightly different ideas of what we're going to do. So maybe we could have gotten a kill, maybe not. It is difficult with Sona. Not only do they have Sona here in the lane, who can of course keep healing Malphite and herself. One of them also had Summoner Heal as an ability. So between Sona's own healing support and between Summoner Heal as an ability, that's an awful lot of healing, which would have made getting one of these kills pretty difficult. But you know, you might as well try. That's why you take a jungler, so you have the opportunity to you know, pop out of the bushes and surprise people like that. Didn't work that time, but maybe it'll work in the future. We'll see anyway. And here I'm still doing a pretty good job of farming up these minions. Again, with some points in Janna's Tornado, allows her to do some pretty good damage. And now that the lane's been pushed forward again, once again I have teleport back off cooldown, so I'm going to take advantage of this brief opportunity to go back to base. One thing that was suggested to me was that I should try to emphasize buying, if I'm going to use a casting character, would be to buy Blasting Wands first, instead of going for Catalyst, and so that's one thing I'm going to try here. Meanwhile, there's fighting down in the bottom lane. I think we exchanged 1 kill for 1 there, although unfortunately their team got the first blood bonus on Donsky on our team, so that was a bit of a shame, but at least we did get another kill. And Mookie gets a 2nd kill there on Tristana. I don't know the particulars, but I believe that their Triss player just stuck around a little bit too long and was out exposed, and Mookie was just able to initiate with a bandage toss and get a relatively easy kill. But like I said, my attention was sort of focused up here. Anyway, just to wrap up that previous point from before, I had a suggestion that a lot of people have noticed that I've tried to go Rod of Ages first with a lot of these, you know, sort of casting characters, and I do think that that's a good item to build first with a lot of these characters. But the suggestion was, why do you keep going for the Catalyst part first instead? You know, if you're just sort of farming back and forth, you know, you probably don't need that Catalyst so much. You know, why not spend that money and get the Blasting Wand portion of it instead, so that then you can, you know, your skills will do more damage, and then you can harass more effectively. And I realized that that was a good suggestion. So if I'm doing well in the lane, like I was doing here, then I've started to try to go for that Blasting Wand more often. Anyway, those 2 kills in bottom lane, along with Mookie coming over there, was a big advantage for us, and it allowed us to get that bottom tower. So we're sort of ahead of the game here, and we're in a good position. Even though the actual kills are very even, 3-2, our positioning is better because we've already taken down that bottom tower. And again, that's all due to the fact that we are, you know, we sort of have an extra champion free to go push lanes because of the 2 versus 1 up here in this lane. And so Mookie was doing a very good job of that, with some help from everyone else in the bottom lane. And mostly Harmless was holding that center lane very well for us as well. Okay, we're up to the end of this video. It was boring, but I promise things will get more interesting next time in part 2.